I don't have any kids. When I was growing up, I didn't really dream of raising children. I dreamt of raising an army. And today I'm going to try to convince you to join mine. I'm going to ask you to enlist in an army of freedom fighters, but our weapons will not be bombs or guns. They will be simple daily acts that promote human rights and foster a more just and equitable world. Now, if you're someone who reads the news or watches the news, and I'm sure most of you probably are, you're probably jaded and cynical enough to want to ask, why should I care about human rights? I wish I didn't have to answer that question as often as I surprisingly do. Because the answer is so simple and it's so obvious, at least to me. Human rights make the world a safer, fairer, and better place for everyone. Now, there's no way that anyone here hasn't at least once made a wish upon a star or just before blowing out their birthday candles, wishing that the world could be a better place. For me, the magic would happen whenever we would drive under an overpass with a train thundering overhead. And that moment when you're just right under the train, the superstition has it that your wish will come true. But because it would happen so fast, I'd have to have my go-to wish for moments like those. And mine was always that same seemingly impossible, innocent thing for peace on earth. I think that deep innate desire, that belief in the goodness of the world and the possibility of a better one is something that we've all held close as children. But then we started to grow up. We started to learn the harsh realities of how dark and dangerous the world can really be. And the more we learned, the more naive that dream seemed to be. I remember the day that I decided to become a human rights advocate. I was 17 years old on my first ever trip to Armenia. And although it did not involve birthday candles, it did involve a flame. The eternal flame at the Tsitsernakapet Memorial, where I had gone all the way from Canada on pilgrimage to pay tribute to my ancestors who perished in the Armenian genocide. Except that when I got there, the flame wasn't lit because of gas shortages at the time. So I'm standing there staring at a gaping hole in the ground where the eternal flame is supposed to be. And I'm feeling a mix of anger and sadness so intense that I really wouldn't wish that on anyone. I felt cheated of the opportunity to grieve a horrific injustice to my family and to my people, which, although it happened long before I was born, I could still feel it in my veins. But that same feeling reignited that youthful hope of making the world a better place by making sure no one else had to feel the way I felt that day and making sure that no one else had to grow up with stories of genocide in their lives. I did that by becoming a lawyer and making human rights and punishing war criminals my whole entire career. But not everyone has to do that. It's not necessarily everybody's path. You don't have to go to law school. You don't have to make human rights your full-time job to join the fight and become an agent of change. But if you care about making the world a better place, you have to care about human rights, and you have to do your part to promote and protect them. So this is the part where I'm going to try to teach you how. After 15 years at the front lines for human rights, I've come to distill and identify 3 fundamental actions which I think really truly embody the essence of championing freedom. These 3 acts are simple but powerful, especially when deployed as a collective, hence the army I seek to raise. First is take a stand. Taking a stand means confronting those all too common instances where we're faced with a choice to either speak up or stay silent. It can be anything, Imagine, for example, you're at a dinner table with friends or family or even people you just met, and someone makes a comment or a joke that's racist or sexist or in any way discriminatory. Moments like these can be uncomfortable because we know that they're wrong. I mean, it can even be something couched like a compliment, like, oh, you drive really well for a woman, or, oh, he's not your typical Jew. Comments like these are not okay. They perpetuate harmful stereotypes and they normalize discrimination. And I think we all deep down know that, which is why most people will actually tend to shrug it off or laugh it off or pretend like they didn't hear it or change the subject because it's uncomfortable. Nobody wants to be a party pooper. Nobody wants to break the flow of conversation or be perceived to cause a scene. But it's exactly moments like these seemingly small moments, that taking a stand can have a huge impact. When we speak up and say, oh, I think that joke was kind of harmful, or can we talk about why that comment was not okay? We send a signal that ignorance and intolerance are not acceptable in our presence. When we don't speak up, we perpetuate those harmful stereotypes, and we contribute to a world where prejudice and discrimination can thrive unchallenged. We don't have to be confrontational or hostile when we take a stand. We can do it with dignity and compassion. It's not about humiliating anyone or shaming anyone or calling anyone out. It's about calling them in to a conversation about respect and empathy and inviting someone to reconsider their views, hopefully also to grow. Number 2 is pick a side. Many people think that neutrality is a sign of wisdom or reasonableness, that when faced with a situation of conflict, adopting a both sides approach shows that you're more fair or that you're more balanced or objective or not biased. But the fact is that in almost every situation of injustice or abuse, especially the most serious ones, there's always a side that's more wrong than the other. So when we choose to stay neutral in situations like these, however well-intended we might be, we can't do that without turning a blind eye to the suffering of victims. You know how they say that the road to hell is paved with good intentions? It's also paved with neutral positions. And I'm not making it up. I'm not the first person to come up with this. Nobel Peace Prize winners have said this better than me, before me. Desmond Tutu and Elie Wiesel have famously said that neutrality in the face of injustice ultimately serves the oppressor, never the oppressed, and that silence always encourages the tormentor, never the tormented. So picking a side means actively recognizing that there is no middle ground when it comes to choosing between justice and injustice. And that we can't just sit on the sidelines watching abuses unfold without getting involved, or we become part of the problem. What picking a side does not mean is locking ourselves in a rigid position. It could happen that we inadvertently pick a wrong side, or we pick a side that seemed right at the time, and then things change, and all of a sudden we realize we're contributing to something harmful. This happens, but when it does, the courageous and ethical response is not to dig your heels in deeper out of pride or stubbornness. It's to adjust your stance. We may not always get it right, but as long as we get involved, stay informed, and stay flexible, then at least we're trying to be part of the solution. And third is the most important one. It's don't be scared. I'm terrified right now, but I'm still doing it. So don't be scared, and even if you are, do it anyway. Fear is natural. You can't avoid it. But courage is a choice. And so every time you choose to be brave, when confronting any situation, even the small ones, to take a stand or pick a side, you and everyone else just like you becomes a massive force for change. People like Nelson Mandela and Hrant Dink never let fear get in their way. Don't be scared to make a mistake. Fear of imperfection can often paralyze us from taking the actions that really can make a difference. Don't be scared to stand alone. Often you might have to do that at the beginning. Greta Thunberg started her climate change school strike sitting all by herself for quite a while before it caught on. And her courage inspired others to join her. And now the whole world is marching with her. Don't be scared of the size of the battle. Don't think that your actions would just be a drop in the ocean. That's negative self-talk and it's really counterproductive. Get that idea out of your mind and instead hold on to the idea of a butterfly. Remember the butterfly effect, where just the gentle flap of a butterfly's wings can cause a chain reaction that can ultimately lead to a tornado. History is not shaped by loud voices at podiums. They're not only. Those loud voices are nothing without the quiet, steadfast actions of the masses that support them. Just like all the soldiers in the secret fantasy army, which I hope I've now convinced you all to join. So there you have it. 3 simple actions we can all start today. Take a stand, pick a side, and don't be scared. And when you leave this room today, remember the power that you hold. By incorporating these actions into your daily lives, you can all contribute to preserving and co-creating a safer, fairer, better world for everyone. Thank you.